Previously, we reduced the user's decision to either continue to own or perform a sale-leaseback to the two alternatives' net present values and tested that analysis for future sales price sensitivity. The next step is to look at the internal rate of return of the differential method to draw additional conclusions. Since the primary purpose of sale-leaseback transaction is to raise capital, this method can help us to determine how the cost of funds raised by a sale-leaseback compares to other sources of capital. In this segment, we will calculate and interpret the yield, internal rate of return, of the differential cash flows after tax from the user's continue to own and the sale-leaseback alternatives. To the earlier process we followed in lease versus own, setting up the differential T-bar is simple. Remember OLD, or own minus lease, equals the differential. We subtract the cash flows of the sale-leaseback from the cash flows continuing to own to find our differential T-bar. In essence, the IRR of the differential is after-tax cost of the funds generated from the sale in a sale-leaseback transaction. If this rate is lower than the user's after-tax weighted average cost of capital or their cost to raise funds from alternative sources, the user should choose the sale-leaseback and take advantage of raising funds at the lower cost. Conversely, if the IRR of the differential is higher than the weighted average cost of capital, the user should choose to own the property and look to their other sources of capital for funds to invest. An IRR of the differential at a rate that exceeds the weighted average cost of capital means that the user would be paying a premium to raise funds through a sale-leaseback. Let's illustrate this process with VSI. Once we have reduced the two alternatives to their periodic cash flows after tax, as previously illustrated, we subtract the sale-leaseback periodic cash flows after tax from the continue to own periodic cash flows after tax to determine the differential cash flows after tax. The 9.09% IRR of the differential, or the after-tax cost of the fund that can be raised from the sale-leaseback, is less than the corporation's 12% after-tax weighted average cost of capital, the after-tax cost of funds that could be raised by going to their existing sources of capital. Thus, the sale-leaseback alternative is the less expensive source of funds.